Okay, now these are the various examples of an SPD, which how an SPD now generally is connected in our system. If you see, sometimes people they don't have a space in the existing DB. So what they do is they put SPD in a certain next DB, and in that case, wire length can be as high as 5 meters. And even in my practical experience, I've seen wire length even up to 12 meters. And you can just imagine, for 1 meter voltage drop was that much. For 12 meters cable, how much will be the voltage drop? Now, we have discussed the problem. What is the solution? One of the solutions is we use a bus bar mounted SPD or a V-type SPD, which can directly be mounted on the bus bar. So this is how a normal bus bar mounted SPD looks. These are the various advantages. It has a very large thermal capacity electrodes to absorb the heat dissipation during the surges. Strong aluminum housing, so to prevent any explosion in case there is a surge or SPD is heated up or any other reason, if there is a explosion, the strong aluminum housing is going to protect. We have a system with 1,500 plus pounds of pressure, which results in very low dynamic resistance and higher conductivity. Again, there is no fuel because it's aluminum body. There is no fuel to create fire or emit smoke. We have used a single distribution gate varistor, which contributes to its reliability and long lifetime. This again we are going to discuss in our further slides. Coaxial symmetry for uniform surge distribution, which is again very obvious. See, now there is a graph where we have compared two types of SPD, Drindle mounted SPDs and a bus bar mounted SPDs. Now, in India, generally what we are using as of now is a Drindle mounted SPD. You can see with increased surge current, the UPF is increasing in a Drindle mounted SPD. For example, with kiloampere surge current, UPF is around 16 kV. Whereas in case of bus bar mounted SPDs, there is very slight increase in UPF. Even for this 40 kiloamps of surge current, UPF is less than 2 kV only. So in terms of reliability, voltage production level, this bus bar mounted SPDs provide a very good performance. So these are the various models available for the bus bar mounted SPDs. Strikesorb 30, 40 and 80. It comes in various nominal voltages: 60 volt, 120 volt, 240 volt, 277 volt, 400 volt, 480 volt, 600 volt and 1000 volt. Based on the voltage, we have certain models like Strikesorb 30 A, B, C and D, Strikesorb 40 A, B, C, D, E, F and G, Strikesorb 80 A, B, C, D, E and F. So these are the various models available with Strikesorb series SPDs. Now, this is one of the major important advantages what bus bar mounted SPDs have over other SPDs. Again, these are all these SPDs are tested with VDE as well as UL 1449 4th edition. Now, if you see in class 1 SPD, Strikesorb 30, even the least rated SPD is tested with 2000 surges of 10 kiloamperes each. Now, normally, a normal Drindle SPD is tested with maybe 10, 15, 20 surges. Now, their testing method is once a surge is given to a Drindle SPD, it is allowed to cool down before giving the second surge. But practically, lightning is not going to wait for equipment or SPD to cool down. In real life, lightning can be multiple and it can be back to back. Let's say there can be back to back 10 lightning strikes or 10 subsequent impulses. For that, we have tested our bus bar mounted SPDs with 2000 back-to-back strikes of 10 kiloamperes and Strikesorb 80 is specially tested with 100 back-to-back strikes of 65 kiloamperes each. Also, we have tested our SPDs with long duration impulses also, like 250 numbers of 250 amperes, 2 millisecond impulses. All three SPDs have been tested with these impulses. These are the various connection examples of bus bar mounted SPDs, how a bus bar mounted SPDs are connected. Normally, you can make a separate earth bus bar for connection of these SPDs. And also, you can connect it on the phase bus bar also. only now with this type of connection, we are ensuring that since it is connected on the bus bar, wire length is 0. Wire length is very, very short in 0. Only small wire length of, let's say, 10 mm or something is required just to connect SPD with the body of the panel, which is again connected to earth. So with the use of this kind of SPDs, we can make wire length very minimum, almost like 0. Now, what are the other advantages of this bus bar mounted SPDs? They are completely maintenance free. Now, see, imagine we have installed an SPD in, let's say, a 3200 amps panel, a Dremel mounted SPD. We have installed in parallel connection with some, let's say, some flag indication. Now, it's a parallel device. We don't know when it is going to fail. Let's say an SPD has failed after 2 years, but it's a parallel device. It failed in open circuit mode. It disconnected itself. How we are going to know? Unless and until we go and physically check the panel, we won't know whether SPD is working or not working. And practically in India, it is very rare. Maybe once in 6 months only we are going to check the panel. So in that case, our system is left unprotected. So once we use this bus bar mounted SPDs, they are warranted for 10 years. Anyhow, 10 years they are warranted and they have a lifetime of 20 plus years. This again, I am going to explain in further slides also. So we should not be worried about the maintenance, going to regularly have a periodic checkup of an SPD, whether it's working or not working. Safe behavior under lightning condition. SPD can withstand multiple higher energy surges without sacrificing itself. This we are going to discuss in further slide also. There is a test details in the next slide. Better overall protection. Fuseless design allows optimum protection level. Up to certain ampere rating, these SPDs don't need a backup protection. So that will allow a very less voltage protection level. Suitable for direct installation with high surge current. For the places where these surges are very common and very frequent, we can use these SPDs. These SPDs are again TOV tested SPDs. TOV is one of the most important parameter in an SPD, temporary over voltage. It is like normally, as we told, that SPD is going to operate when there is a voltage more than voltage protection level. But sometimes there can be a small voltage across an SPD of 440 volt or maybe more. Then that can create a failure in SPD. So these SPDs have immunity against TOV voltages. Okay. So again, these SPDs are tested as per IEC as well as UL. As you know, UL is one of the most safest standard in the world under Writers Laboratory. So we have tested with UL 1449 4th edition as well as IEC 61643 part 11 2011. So we have installed almost 20 million units. Now it has become almost 25 million units with practically zero failure rate. We have not received a single complaint for this 20 million units installed across worldwide. That is not only in India, it is worldwide. So these are the some important parameters of the bus bar mounted SPDs. Nominal voltage, I have taken a certain series of voltage which is normally used in India. 277 volt, which has an MCOV of 350 volt for all these three models, Strikorb 30, 40 and 80C. Now, nominal discharge current is same for all three models. Again, it is a test method. They tested with 20 kiloamperes only. Maximum discharge current for Strikorb 30 is 50 kiloampere. Strikorb 40 is 140 kiloampere. Strikorb 80 is 200 kiloamperes. Now, when I am telling you this values 50, 140 and 200 kiloamperes, this is per pole rating. This is not the total rating of 4 poles. This is per pole rating. Impulse current rating is 7.5 kiloampere for Strikorb 30, 12.5 kiloampere for Strikorb 40, and 25 kiloamperes for Strikorb 80. Now again, we have tested Strikorb 80 with higher rating also. That again is going to come in the future further slides. Short circuit rating is 50 kiloamperes for Strikorb 30, 85 kiloamperes for Strikorb 40, and 65 kiloamperes for Strikorb 80, and again, which is further tested with more rating also. TOV voltage, Strikorb 30, 40, and 80 again are tested for 528 volt. Standard has recommended SPDs to be tested with 442 volts, but Strikorb series SPDs are tested with 528 volts, which is much better. Response time, one of the most important parameter with respect to an SPD. all the bus bar mounted SPDs have a response time of 1 nanoseconds, and there is no chance of hollow current in a Strikesorb series SPD, a bus bar mounted SPD, because it's a MOV based SPD. So the endurance testing of an SPD, the endurance and lifetime testing of an SPD. Normally, we have taken an example of Strikesorb 40, and it was tested with 10 lifetime cycles. What is a lifetime cycle? One lifetime cycle is equivalent to 20 years of operation in the field. So how we test a one lifetime cycle? An SPD is given with 6 numbers of 5 kiloampere 10 by 350 impulse, 9 numbers of 3.75 kiloamperes 10 by 350 impulse, 24 numbers of 2.5 kA 10 by 350 impulse, and 21 numbers of 1.25 kA 10 by 350 impulse. This constitutes one lifetime cycle. Each Strikesorb 40 is tested with total of 10 lifetime cycle. That means a normal Strikesorb 40 under a normal condition is going to work for 200 years. But anyways, we don't know how things will be in 200 years. So we generally ensure 20 plus years of life cycle for an SPD. So you see on the right side, you can see a table. What was the outcome of the result when we done this testing on Strikesorb 40? The residual voltage, that means the voltage protection level, almost like a voltage protection level on SPD, you can see the change in percentage. After first life cycle test, it was 2.8%, second 3.2%, and in the 10th test, change was only 4.29%. In terms of leakage current, after first lifetime test cycle, the leakage current was 0.234 milliamperes, and after 10th life cycle test, the leakage current was only 0.444 milliamperes. So this is very good test result in terms of operations and reliability. So Strikesorb series SPDs are again certified by UL for unlimited short circuit test for 3 cycles. That means each SPD has been given a short circuit current for 50 milliseconds at 60 Hertz frequency. So this is how a normal Strikesorb can be connected. There are various lugs can be used. It can be mounted on a plate and then connected with a nut. It can be mounted on a bus bar. It can be used through a crimp terminal. A bus bar can be connected on the screw. These are the various connections for Strikesorb.